Gents, what's going on today? My name is Ryan Mickler, and I am the host and founder of the Order of Man podcast and movement. I'm going to talk with you today about dominating your day. This one's going to be different, though, than you've heard in the past, because you've heard all the other advice about eating right and exercising and waking up on time, having a morning routine. I'm going to talk with you about some unconventional ways to dominate your day, things that we overlook and often don't think about. And I think it's going to help you on your path to becoming a better man, which is what we're doing here. So stay tuned because in a minute I'll get to that. But first, I want to mention my friends over at Origin Maine. Now, these guys were known and originally started making jiu-jitsu gis and rash guards and that sort of thing, but have since moved into denim and boots and shirts and hoodies and beanies. And they've got their nutritional supplement to line up with Jocko. Jocko Fuels is what that division is called. So I would suggest to you as maybe you're moving a little bit more, coming out of winter as we are here in Maine, that you're active, that you're outdoors, that you're exercising. Hopefully you are anyways. And as you want to recover and make yourself healthy, then take a look at the Jocko Fuels supplemental lineup. They've got their discipline. They've got their joint warfare, which is what I use for my aching elbows and fingers as I continue down the jiu-jitsu path. They've got their pre-workout. They've got their protein called Mulk. They've got it all over there. You can check it out at Origin Maine, originmaine.com. And when you pick up anything over there, make sure you use the code ORDER, ORDER at checkout, because you're going to get a discount when you do. And if you're going to get it anyways, you might as well save some money. All right, guys, let's talk about dominating the day. Again, you've heard all the stuff about eating right, planning out your day, exercise, and what I'm going to share with you is different. Not that it's more important than any of that, because I think you should be doing that. I think you should be eating right. I think you should plan out every single day. I think you should have a morning routine. I think that you should be getting rid of the junk food, all the things that you already know that you've heard. Okay. So, but this is going to be a little bit more unconventional. Now, the first one, I will admit, maybe is not that all that unconventional. I feel like maybe it's a bit of a cop out because I talk about it all the time, but I'm telling you, this is so important. If you aren't planning out your day, gentlemen, taking 5, 10, 15 minutes every single morning without fail. Yes, even on the weekends, even on vacation, even on the holidays. If you're not having a planning system and executing that on a daily basis, you are leaving room for growth on the table. You're just not as effective as you could be. There's been studies that have actually shown that we believe, especially as men, ourselves to be more effective than we are, more productive, more profitable, et cetera, et cetera. And when the rubber meets the road, we realize that we're falling short and we delude ourselves and we make ourselves believe that we're better than we are and we lie to ourselves. But if you're truthful about how you're showing up, you know that you're underperforming, regardless of where you are on the spectrum of success and productivity. You are underperforming, as am I. And I don't want to be that way. I want to perform at my maximum capacity, not only in my business, but in my personal life and my exercise and all the other things that I have going on. And having a plan every single morning where I sit down and I review 4 specific things. So let me talk with you about what those are. Number 1, I go through my daily non-negotiables. These are the things that I just talked with you about earlier: exercise, eating right, morning routine, et cetera, et cetera. Then I go through my daily tasks. What are the things that I have to get done today? I have to call this person. I have to make this new shirt available in the store. I have to plan an event. I have to email these individuals. Those are the things that are going to change on a daily basis. And those are my daily tasks. From there, I'm going to go into each one of my objectives. If you're following along on YouTube, you can see I'm holding up the battle planner right here. If you're not, basically I have objectives for each of 4 quadrants. Now, I'm not going to get into this because we've talked about it at length. You can go back and check out anytime we talk about the battle planner. This is what we're talking about here. And I'm going to go through those 4 objectives and the tactic that I need to get done for each of those objectives. And I'm going to track it. And this is my day. It's very simple. It takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 15 if I need to tweak or adjust some things, but it doesn't take any longer than that. But how in the world are you going to know if you're going to be a success? How in the world are you going to know what is going to make today the best day possible if you can't write it down? A lot of guys have ideas and thoughts bouncing around their brain, and that's great, but you're going to forget stuff. Things are going to fall through the cracks unless you have a planning system to make sure that you're making the most of each day. So that's number 1, plan each day. Number 2, read a book, guys. Please go read a book. And I'm not telling you have to read the entire thing. I certainly am not Theodore Roosevelt, who was known to read, 1 to 3 books a day. I can't do that. I got other things to do, and I can't read that fast and retain any of that information. But you can take 10 minutes. You can take 5 minutes in the morning and just sit with your coffee or sit on the deck, or while you're maybe thinking about what you want to get done or whatever it looks like for you, is you're actually going to sit down, you're going to read a book, you're going to read a few pages, you're going to read a chapter, however you can squeeze that in. And I would suggest that it isn't always self-development and self-help, because I've been down this path where all I would do is read self-help books. I'd listen to self-help podcasts. I'd watch all the videos. I'd go to all the conferences, and I got inundated with all this information. And it became overwhelming to the point where I wasn't doing anything. But if you can pick up a nonfiction book, I think that would probably round out a little bit of the information that's being put into your brain. Jack Carr just came out with his latest, his 4th book in the series, the James Reese series, called The Devil's Hand. So you can check that book out. But maybe read something you wouldn't normally read. And this is what makes it unconventional. Don't read the self-help guru books. Yes, there's a time and a place for that, but mix it up, change it up, because now you're going to be able to flex your creative muscle. You're going to be looking at things from new perspectives and new angles. You're going to free your mind up to think in new ways that it wouldn't previously have thought, if all you're doing is inundating yourself with the self-help stuff. Again, not bad, but mix it up. That's what we're trying to do. All right. Number 3, call somebody from your network. Okay, this is where it starts to get a little bit more unconventional for you guys. Call somebody from your network, and I'm suggesting that you do this every single day. There might be somebody that you haven't connected with for a while. There might be a connection that you can actually make for another individual, or maybe it's somebody who you aren't really all that connected with, and you want to develop and foster a deeper relationship with that person. But I would suggest to you that every single day, you ought to pick up this little device that does more than just social media, the likes and whatnot on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and everywhere else, and actually use it to connect with somebody who you want to develop a deeper, more connected relationship with. Again, that could be a business alliance, a strategic partner. It could be a friend. It could be somebody who, again, you want to develop a deeper relationship with. But calling somebody every day and getting in the habit of using this device to connect with people, what it's actually supposed to be used for, is a very powerful thing. And if you compound enough of what I'm talking about with you today on a daily basis, you cannot help but win. You will win, inevitably, if you compound enough of what I'm going to share with you today over and over and over again, every single day, month in, month out, year in, year out, and be consistent in this stuff. So what I would say, and I should have reminded you of this earlier, is get a notepad out and write these 10 things down. Put them in your daily plan. However you're planning out your day, put it in your daily plan. Write these 10 things down. Again, number 1, planning out every single day. Number 2, reading a book, or at least a portion of a book. And number 3, calling somebody from your network. And by the way, when I say call somebody from your network, it doesn't mean that you have to ask them for something, that you're trying to get something. In fact, it shouldn't always be like that. Maybe you want to pay somebody a compliment, or you saw an article about somebody you want to connect with that you have a loose connection with. And so you forward that along to them in a text or a DM on social media and follow up. That's what I'm talking about. Connect with the people you want to connect with and forge deeper relationships with. So that's number 3. Number 4 is to learn to say no, and also learn to say yes. Because those should only be the only 2 choices that you make on a daily basis when you're thinking about what needs to get done. No and yes. So why am I telling you to do both? Well, here's what I would suggest. A lot of us have a tendency of saying yes to the things that we know we should say no to, but we lack the spine to be able to do it. And what I want you to do is I want you to get stronger in the department of managing your time effectively, so that it can be allocated towards the things that are the most important to you, your family, your church, your business, your charitable services, whatever it is that is important to you. I want you to learn how to say no to the things that get in the way of doing that. We aren't really good at that. And it's as with anything. If you practice it, you make a deliberate and conscious effort of doing it, you will get better. It's harder at first. and harder and harder. And then it gradually becomes easier and easier and easier and more manageable. But you have to start somewhere. So here's what I would suggest when it comes to the no department. Try not to make your decisions so quickly. Give yourself a little bit of margin. If somebody comes to you with a request that you aren't interested in entertaining, or you can't for whatever reason, and you're inclined to say yes all the time, and you don't quite know how to say no, what I would say to that individual is, thank you for bringing that to my attention, or thank you for asking me about that. I've got to look at my schedule. I've got to think about how that might work, and I will get back with you before noon or whenever's appropriate. What that's going to do is that's going to allow you the margin and the space to be able to formulate an answer. Now, I wish I could just tell you, yeah, you just say no. And some of you have no problem with that. I don't have a problem with that, but I've also practiced it. But I know there's a lot of guys who have a problem with that. And so create the space, create the margin. Then you can really think, I actually don't have time for this. You can look at your schedule. You can look at what your priorities are. You can look at your daily plan that you actually just went through earlier in the day. And you can see you don't have time for it. And then you can formulate a solid response to that individual. And I wouldn't say lie to the individual. We're not formulating a lie or a story. You're just formulating your thoughts so that you can give that person the respect of an intelligent, thoughtful answer or a polite decline, and how you're going to say it and how you're going to frame it. So say no to the things that you should be saying no to. Now, in point number 4, which is say no, I also said and say yes. I'm saying say yes to things that normally you wouldn't say yes to. Maybe there's an opportunity for a luncheon or a connection, or to go on a camp out with somebody that you want to get to know better, or whatever. There's 1,000 different things it could be. And a lot of the times the things that we should say yes to, we don't, because we're afraid. Just like we're afraid of saying no to somebody, we're afraid to say yes to something that could actually present a real opportunity for you. I get offers occasionally from individuals who listen. And although I can't entertain all of those offers, I do make a conscious effort to say yes to more than I normally would, because I realize there are opportunities there to meet new people, to develop new skills, which is something I'm going to talk with you about here in a minute. But really think about what you're saying no to and what you're saying yes to, and ask yourself, what if I did the opposite? What if all the things I would say yes to normally I said no to, and all the things I would say no to normally I would say yes to? And try it, experiment with it, because there's going to be some very cool experiences, opportunities, life lessons, connections, networking situations that are going to arise if you say yes to the things that fear would normally keep you from saying yes to. That's number 4. Say no and say yes. Number 5, I want you to just try something new. It does not matter what it is, guys. Just try something new. Push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Get uncomfortable. Make it challenging. And really, you don't have to have any reason to do this. It doesn't have to be to some end. There doesn't always have to be some end in mind. I know I'm very goal-oriented. I talk about this a lot, how to create and establish goals, why they're important, why it's going to move you in the right direction. And there's a time and a place for that. But there's also a time and a place to do things just because they're intrinsically valuable. Reading, for example, I told you earlier to read a fictional work. Okay, well, a lot of you are thinking, yeah, but I could be reading the self-help thing and it's going to help me make more money or better my relationships. And while that is true, there's also value in just reading for the sake of reading. It's intrinsically valuable. It doesn't have to move you to some ultimate desire and objective. Now, it probably will, but there's things that are just valuable because you're doing them. So maybe there's a new hobby. Maybe there's a new restaurant that's open that you want to take your wife to. Maybe it's a new book that you wanted to read. Maybe there's an opportunity to present to your business partners or to some sort of networking group like Business Network International or your Chamber of Commerce. These are all opportunities to push outside of your comfort zone, to do something that you've never done before, and to give you a new perspective and potentially a new skill set that you can work on and develop over time that will serve you well. So again, these are things that I'm suggesting that you do every single day. Now, the odds of you implementing these 10 things that I'm sharing with you on top of what you're already doing is probably not extremely likely, but maybe you do something new once a week. Or maybe you implement, 5 of these things a day. And on Tuesday, you do the other 5. And then on Wednesday, you pick 5 random ones. And on Thursday, you pick the other 5 random ones you didn't choose on Wednesday. Mix it up. These are all very effective strategies for improving your life. And trying something new is a big way to do that. All right, number 6, develop a valuable skill set. Now, this is different from trying something new. What I'm actually telling you to do now is to dive deeper into something that you already know. So this is a learning opportunity that you can actually pinpoint and isolate what you want to get better at. So if you want to get better at public speaking, then maybe you need to prepare a presentation. Maybe you need to pitch this or present this to your friends or your colleagues, coworkers. Maybe there's an opportunity, like I said a minute ago, to present to BNI or to your chamber or in your church congregation or a men's group. Maybe it's you want to learn to hunt. This is something that I'm doing. Is we are going to be fast approaching hunting season for us. Is I'll go outside and I'll go shoot, and it doesn't have to be long, but I'll go out and shoot 5 or 10 or 20 arrows, and I'm developing a skill set that I already have, but I'm getting better. I'm refining. I'm honing that skill set so I can be much more effective when it comes to whatever it is I'm after. And one thing I want to share as I go through this list is a lot of guys will talk to me about confidence issues. I'm not confident. I don't feel confident in who I am. I feel uneasy. I feel, nervous. I don't feel like I have my footing or grounding. These are all ways to develop and build confidence, guys. Like if you're trying something new and you're reaching out and you're reading books and your day is planned and you're honing other skills that you already have, you're just getting better at them. How can you not be more confident? And then that confidence is going to breed more confidence. And it's also going to breed courage, which is going to allow you to do even more down the road. This is what we want. Confidence isn't something that you just get to have. It isn't something that you stumble upon. It isn't something that just some people are born with. No, we earn it. And we earn it by doing these things, by putting ourselves into action, and by making ourselves better. And regardless of where you are on the spectrum of skill sets and how good or how bad you are at that thing, if you're moving the needle, how could you not feel better? I talk with a lot of guys who are anxious and depressed and even suicidal. And barring, mental illness, and of course I would recommend therapy where that's appropriate as well. Oftentimes I tell these individuals to get moving, get up, get off the couch, go engage in something, move your body, move your mind, try a new skill, get better at something you're already pretty decent at. How could you feel bad about yourself by doing that? Of course you can't. So get it done. All right. So that's number 6, develop a new skill. Number 7, this one's a little different. Probably haven't heard this a whole lot, but your day is going to be incredibly more successful. And not just that day, but the day after and the day after and the day after. And you're going to stack these together when you do this. Ask powerful questions. Ask powerful questions. Guys, one of the quotes that I like, you've heard me talk about it, is the quality of your life will be determined by the quality of questions that you ask. Now, I'm in a unique position that I ask questions for a living. I interview successful men. I have them on the podcast. I ask them questions. They give me their answers. And then I try to implement those things into my life and, of course, share that with you so you can do the same. So I get to see real time how my questions work. And I get to experiment with those questions. I think over the past 6 years now that I've gotten better at asking those questions relative to what I was doing 6 years ago. But that's because I'm deliberate, intentional about it. That's because I'm spending time thinking about it. And so there are people in your circle who are better at things than you are. And if you're not asking them questions, what a wasted opportunity. And the other thing that is kind of an unintended consequence of, or result, I should say, because consequence kind of has a negative connotation. So a result of asking questions is people are going to like you more. Flat out, people are going to like you more. If you ask individuals about their lives, about a specific skill set they have that you want to develop or you want to learn and you want to get better at, or you're just curious about, and you ask those individuals about that, they're going to like you more. Yeah, you're going to pick up the information and hopefully you're going to apply it. That's why we ask the questions. But people are going to be connected with you. They're going to like you. And they may not even fully understand or know why. But they know that, hey, this is somebody who's interested. This is somebody who's interesting. This is somebody who cares about what I have to say, that's flattering. You're going to be a more likable person. So what makes a powerful question? Something that's specific, something that's relevant. Okay, if it's not relevant to the issue or conversation or an individual, it's not a very powerful question. And something that's open-ended. If it's just, yeah, how's your day? Oh, it's good. Okay, well, that's not really a very powerful question. If you said, on the other hand, what was the best part of your day, or what do you enjoy most about your day? Okay, that's more powerful. It's specific, it's relevant in a certain context, and it's open-ended. Now the person actually has to answer and engage in a dialogue, which is what you want. If you ask a closed question, how's your day? Good. Conversation's over. Your goal is to open up conversation. What do you enjoy most about your day? That's a very simple way to reframe a very rudimentary question that everybody knows. They ask about the day. What do you like best about your job? Hey, you've been pretty successful financially. What's your single best piece of advice for building wealth? Or somebody who's in the stock market. What stock do you like the most? Well, I like this stock. Why do you like that one? What is it about that? Or how do you choose the best stock to invest in? That's an even better question. You have to experiment with this, play around with this a little bit. But again, it has to be specific. Can't just be broad. Like, oh, how does the universe work? I don't even I don't know what you're asking. Okay. That's not a great question. So it has to be specific. It has to be relevant. If I have a business owner in front of me and I get to ask him about starting a business, and I'm asking about him playing, baseball when he was 7, that's a waste of questioning. Like, ask something that's relevant and then make sure it's open-ended. Focus on that. It's very powerful and it's often overlooked. I mean, think about the most successful people in the world. I think about, even in the podcasting space, think about Joe Rogan, very good at leading a discussion through asking questions. All sorts of individuals are good at this. And the people who ask the best questions and then implement them are the people who are always going to win. All right. That was number 7. Number 8, just help somebody in need. Just help somebody in need. That's it. And it doesn't have to be a little old lady that you're helping cross the street. Okay. I mean, that might be a way to help. Sure. And you should do that, by the way, if you didn't already know that. It might just be maybe it's a colleague who's struggling with an element at work. Just help that individual. Hey, how's it going? I know you got the deadline coming up. You seem a little stressed out about it. Are you okay? Are there things you're struggling with? Is there something that I can do to assist, to help? Can I make a connection? Can I offer a resource? Can I offer extra set of eyeballs to look at whatever we're looking at? Like, what is it that I can do to help you? And look for those opportunities. This is how you make yourself valuable. And don't you want to be valuable? Don't you feel good when you're valuable to other people? Of course. And it's also just doing the right thing, helping other people as they need it. If somebody needs a connection and you happen to have that connection, then you should bend over backwards to be able to make that connection, because that's the right thing to do. But also, everybody wins. The person that you're connecting, the person that you're connecting to the other individual, and yourself. You all win in that environment. The little old lady who's crossing the street, yeah, man, she needs some help. So go help her. She's going to win because she's going to get safely across the street. And you're going to win because you're going to feel good about yourself and the value that you add to society. And I actually think that's one of the biggest problems in society. Everybody is so self-absorbed. Me, me, me. How can I get mine? Well, I got to get it while the getting's good. Screw everybody else. I'm just going to worry about myself. That's one of the biggest problems with culture today. And we overcome that by just stop doing that and start looking outwards. What can I do to serve other individuals? And how can you not win? And how can you not feel better about yourself? And now how can you not open up doors and create opportunities that would not otherwise be available if you just shut yourself in and worry about yourself the entire time? Let's stop being so selfish and focus on how we can help other individuals. All right, number 9, create abundance. Create abundance. So number 8 was about creating value, right? You're helping other people. Now I'm talking about creating abundance. And what I mean by this is not just financial, but it certainly could be, is that at the end of today, you should be wealthier than you were yesterday, even if it's $1 or $5 or $10. Take a look at your financial statements. What can you do? Can you put $1 aside into a separate account? That's abundance. When you're going to the grocery store, can you buy extra cans of food to put in your food storage? That's abundance. It's only going to cost you $3. That's abundance. Look for ways that you can set assets and resources and provisions financially, physically aside, away for a rainy day. Because when you do that, you're going to be in a better position and you're going to feel more confident about your position. You're going to feel better about where you are right now, and you're also going to feel better about the future. And if you feel better about the future, you have more hope for the future, which means that you will work harder, that you will be more directed in your activities and endeavors because you see that there's a reason for doing it. If there's no hope, there wouldn't be a reason for you to get out of bed. I mean, I even think about this when it comes to men who are suicidal. They believe there's no hope. There might be some mental illness, not discounting that for sure. But these guys believe that there is no hope, because if they believed there was hope, even just to that amount, they would be less inclined to take themselves out of this world. So we have to give ourselves hope. I mean, it would be nice if people stepped up to help us. And that's why we should strive to help other individuals, as I said earlier. But in the absence of that, or even in the presence of that, you should be helping yourself. Build abundance, build wealth, pay off debt, set provisions aside, and you're going to feel better. You're going to feel more productive. You're going to feel like a man, frankly, because that's what men do. We plan and we anticipate and we look for threats to our livelihood, to our well-being, to the well-being of our family and friends and people we care about. And when you're setting provisions aside, you're acting manly and you will feel manly. Right? If you take a little boy, for example, he's not setting anything aside. He's a consumer of resources. That's why there's some men, I should say the age of men, but they're acting more like boys because they can't even provide for themselves, let alone for anybody else. Be a man. Set the provisions aside. All right, and the last one here, guys, this kind of goes back, not kind of, it does go back into point number 1, and that is that you should be recapping each day. Every day needs to be recapped. Don't just shut down the computer. Don't just veg out at the end of the day with a beer and in front of the TV. Don't just fall asleep wherever you are. No, recap your day. What did you get done? What didn't you get done? What do you need to do tomorrow? How can you improve? Start planning your day tonight for tomorrow. You're going to be better off when you do. It's easy to overlook, and it doesn't take that long, actually. Again, 5, 10 minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes before, 5, 10, 15 minutes after, at the end of every day. If that's all you did in listening to the 10 points I just gave you, your life would drastically improve. It would radically improve over the next week. I promise you, I guarantee you, over the next 7 days, if you were to do that, plan out the day and recap every day, your life would drastically improve over a 7-day period. Very simple. If you did all of these things, your life would be almost unrecognizable in a very, very short period of time. Opportunities would unfold themselves before you. People would want to be around you. You're going to be making connections. You're going to be wheeling and dealing. You're going to be making deals. You're going to be building wealth. You're going to be getting strong. You're going to feel good about yourself. Forget about everything else. You're going to feel good about yourself for once in your life. I mean, I know there's a lot of guys who do not feel good about themselves. And there's no amount of popular phrasing and thoughts about the body positive movement and just love yourself for who you are. No amount of that is going to make you feel better. And no amount of alcohol or drugs or pornography or whatever at TV, whatever else it is that you sedate yourself with is going to make you feel better. Yeah, temporarily as you're high and buzzed. Yeah, for sure. You're going to feel better for an hour. And then guess what? You're going to feel worse than you did before, because not only did that stuff all come back to your mind, now you feel guilty because you, again, didn't address it properly and you did something you didn't want to do. So here's what I would suggest that you replace it with. these 10 steps, 10 points to dominate your day. So let's recap them. Number one, plan out every single day. Use the battle planner, use your own planner, use a blank piece of paper, use Google Calendar. I don't care, but plan out every single day. Look at your non-negotiables, look at your daily tasks, and look at your objectives that you need to accomplish for the day. Number two, read a book. And I would suggest to you that it be a fictional work. You need something different. You need to mix it up. If you're anything like me, you've read all the self-help books, you've read them multiple times over. They're good and they serve their purpose, and I will continue to read self-help books. But as I mature, I see the value in fictional work. Go pick up The Devil's Hand by Jack Carr. That's a good resource for you. Or Endurance is another good one by Alfred Lansing. That's another good one. That's not a fictional work. That's a historical book about Ernest Shackleton's ill-fated adventures in the Antarctic. Check that one out. So that was number two, read a book. Number three, call somebody from your network, somebody you want to develop a relationship with, somebody that you want to connect deeper with, somebody you haven't talked with for a while, or somebody you can make a connection for, but network, get good at networking. Number four, learn to say no to the things you should say no to, and yes to the things that you should say yes to. Number five, try something new. Push yourself outside of your comfort zone every day. Could be little, could be major, but every day doing something new. Number six, developing, honing, refining, fostering a skill set that you already possess, that you want to get better at, that you want to improve. Could be physical, mental, emotional. Could be something about communication or a hobby or an activity, whatever. But develop a skill set that you already have. You just want to improve and get better at it. Number seven, ask powerful questions. Again, powerful questions are specific, they are relevant, and they are open-ended. Those are powerful questions. Number eight, help somebody in need. This is how we add value. It could be the little old lady who's crossing the street or the neighbor who needs their lawn mowed. Or it could be that you're serving in your church and somebody needs a word of advice or encouragement. Or it could be that your colleague needs help on that new task or project they've been assigned. That's how you add value. That's how men add value. Help somebody in need. Number nine is create abundance and prosperity in your life. Set aside $1 or $5 or $100. I don't know what your financial situation is, but do it every single day. I'm going to be wealthier today. When you're at the grocery store, buy 2, 3, 5 extra cans of beans or a bag of rice, whatever, so that you can put into your food storage. This is how we build and create abundance in our lives. It's not going to always be easy. It's not always going to be convenient. That's why so many people don't do it. Be one of the people who does, who can push even though it is not easy, even though it is not comfortable or not always convenient. And then number 10 is recap your day. I started with plan your day, and I'm ending with recap your day. Look at what went well. Look at what didn't go so well. Figure out what you need to do tomorrow. And I promise, if you implement this into your life, man, you're going to be unstoppable in a very short period of time. You don't have to do them all every day. Do as many as you can, sure. But if you picked 3 or 4 or 5 off that list, you're going to change your life. And that's what I want. And you got to do it consistently. If you do it today and don't ever do it again, well, okay, that was probably wasted effort. But you got to be in this thing all day, every month, every year for the rest of your life. That's what it's going to take. And if you want to be successful, if you want to have a good relationship, you want to grow your business, you want to start a business, you want to move up in your career, you want to feel better about who you are, this is what it takes. There's no body positive movement. There's no feel good, hippie bullcrap that's going to make you feel better permanently about yourself. Yeah, you can lie to yourself. You can be delusional for a little bit. You can be all hopped up and inspirational and motivated about things because somebody told you, you're special just the way you are. I mean, you have the potential to be, sure, as do I. And I know I feel best when not I'm comfortable with where I am, but I'm actively moving to where I could be. That's when I feel the best about myself. And I think you will too. All right, guys, that's all I've got. We'll be back next week. Until then, go out there, take action, and become the man you are meant to be.